Welcome back, my friends. Another episode of the Suited Kings podcast. Today, Wes and I are joined by our good friend, Mr. Paul Carney. He's another Minnesota player. Just here to shoot the shit. We're going to actually be talking about exploiting fish today. So,
We thought he'd
and
be the perfect person
yeah,
to bring on, kind of
yeah.
just beat him around a little bit. Like, okay, so you're the fish in this hand, Carney.
Right
Well,
out
I
of the
mean,
gate.
last episode, Max dropped this like big mystery. Oh, stay tuned, everybody. We got a big name guest coming up. Like, you're not going to believe who we landed, and I'm going to be the next person on from the next recording. And everybody's be like, what?
Let me clarify, Carney. I promise I was not talking about you. We actually do have a big guest lined up. But anyways, we'll leave that one for the future. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about exploiting fish today, but then also we're going to be talking about how we can then counter that versus thinking players. Yeah, Wes, do you want to go ahead and get started on where we're going here today?
Yeah. So we're thinking like spots where players are super unbalanced, which they're all over, but we're going to focus on some big ones today. And then, so, how we can take advantage of those spots. And then furthermore, we're going to like look at those spots and say, okay, so there are other smart players, more thinking players out there that are also aware of these spots. So they make specific adjustments in these spots. How do we take advantage of the adjustments they make?
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of two layers to it.
Okay.
And yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, should we hop right into it? Should we talk shit to each other a little more?
let's hop right into it and okay, Carney.
No, wait a minute. Every other episode, we spend a good 5-10 minutes shooting the shit, and you bring me on to bring a little color to this place, and you want to just get right into the X's and O's and put everybody into the beatbox world. Like,
I know.
Now, hang a minute. I'm feeling a little underappreciated being brought in here. Like, am I just
the spotlight is yours, Carney. Please.
No. I mean, hey, like you want to be able to put it out there, whether or not I'm noble enough to hang with the wise suited kings. Everybody talks about how great Wes Cannon is and blah blah blah. And oh yeah, Max I guess is all right too. But like, you got to bring in a little flavor once in a while, spice things up a little bit.
You're gonna be our residential mix game, like our in-house mix game specialist. All right. So I'm sure many of our listeners have heard over the couple 2 to 3 years we've been doing this now, us mention your name a few times. You're a good friend of ours. You've traveled with Wes many times over the years to MSBT stops, etc. You're just to kind of give you a slight introduction, you're a no limit fish, but you're a mixed game specialist. You're not a fish in no limit, but I mean, to be fair, I almost folded a set to you one time when the only thing that beat me was a better set. So that's, if that says anything.
Well, first off, I melted your face first and foremost. Let's get that straight. All right. Like,
and river top set versus your flop set.
I appreciate the warm words here now that I'm here to defend myself, but I believe the last time I was brought up on this podcast, I was described as the Mizreg, Minnesota's favorite Mizreg. Does that sound accurate, Max?
Well, this is just from the people, not from myself.
Sure.
Max, let's be clear. Max is claiming he is just the spokesperson. He's
the voice of the voiceless, Max Havlish, everybody. He's just saying what everybody's thinking.
Yeah,
go ahead. For your people who don't know, go ahead and define what a Mizreg is to you, Max. Enlighten me.
Well, let's break it out down to the root words: miserable and regular. Yeah. For the core word here, miserable. I don't think I've ever seen you bust a tournament and say good game and walk away with a smile on your face.
Oh, that sounds like loser talk. I mean, I think aren't we here to win, boys? Like who wants to line up and give handshakes like it's Little League? Like,
well, let's start off with this.
I'm like Argentina. Like the second the whistle blows, I'm up in your face and I'm pushing people around. Like,
what's also in my face is your volume. Turn your gain down a little bit. All right.
Oh my God. First I'm too quiet. Now I'm too loud. What do you want out of me?
You're peeking here, man.
I can hit the mute button. How about that?
Yeah. Anyways, so no, this is all in good fun, obviously. Like, I do look forward to the shit talking, and I do want to hear your input on No Limit Hands, but I also want someone that can help us understand mixed games. So we're bringing you along here and there, and Just kind of see how it goes. And by the way, if you guys do enjoy having Carney on, I would love to hear from you. We would love to hear from you in either the Discord. By the way, if you're not in there, join through the link in the description. We have nearly 400 members now, a very active place. So hop in the Discord, either talk shit about him or just, give him kind words.
Yeah, come on, boys. Smash that like button, ring that subscribe bell. I want everybody to leave a comment on this on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. Tell me your favorite Hold'em starting hand and why it's pocket aces. Just drop it in there. Let's get some social media activity going on, boys.
Do you want to maybe, Karn, do you want to, before we get into the topic, do you maybe just want to talk a little bit about poker, what it is to you, like where you came from, how long you've been playing?
Oh, we're just going to turn this into a Carney interview episode.
No, this is not. Make it quick, and then let's get into content.
No, I mean, I come where all Mizregs come from. I picked up the game young. I got into it when the 2005 boom happens with Moneymaker, or 2003. Was it 2003? Yes, 2003.
Yeah.
Poker was still starting to come around back then, and me and the boys would play, in our parents' basements for nickel poker and whatnot, and go into online, and year after year you kind of work your way up the stakes, and nowadays it's a daily grind for me. And I'm in Wes's boat now of not finding a way to make the game a business but also enjoy it, and it's certainly a fine line to walk. And I think later on in other episodes, if I have the honor of getting invited back, we can talk about what the day in the life of a professional poker player actually looks like.
Mizreg, you mean?
A Mizreg, yep. Wes will get there. He'll get to that Miz spot. I was listening to you last episode, Max, talking, or maybe it was you came back from the WSOP and you're like, oh, I'm just running bad and I can't get a score to save my life. And then, all of a sudden you go in final table the next weekend and poker's great again. Right. So we're short-term memory creatures that
way to summarize that up. Yeah, I feel like that's exactly how that went down.
I mean, that's what it is. And people we can talk the X's and O's and strategy as much as we want on this podcast, but I think a lot of poker is also like how you maintain your mentality with the game on and off the felt, particularly when you get to the point of, you have no idea. You opened up Pandora's box here, buddy. We're going to get real philosophical on this podcast before you know it.
Okay.
Lucky Chew is going to be taking notes from me about, keeping your mind clean and ready to go on the battlefield. So,
okay.
But no, Hold'em was all I knew for the longest time, and slowly pick up Omaha, and then all of a sudden you work up the stakes and you get your eyes on the mix game out at Canterbury, and you get kind of bored with the 2-card streets every once in a while, and you want to mix it up, and it's kind of like you said, you can label me a fish in the no limit streets if you want, and that's kind of mentality there. But when it comes to mix, particularly in the limit world, you're fighting in the trenches. You're trying to move the ball forward as much as you can, pot after pot. And
what's your favorite game?
Battles. Having a Hold'em in Omaha background, obviously the board games are kind of what I feel the most experienced in. But I would say games that involve draws, you can be much more attentive. Deuce to sevens, your Badoogies, and that includes your Dramahas and stuff like that. Things where you can gain information from people's draw cards and how they act on flops, and when they show aggression, when they don't. If you're a deceptive person and you say remain disciplined, it becomes very elementary and a science. So for me, someone who's going to get labeled a fish, someone that's going to be too passive. If you can play smart, disciplined poker in the limit streets, it's very profitable in the long run. But it's a war of attrition.
By the way, I do want to say thank you for explaining all that. And we did mention this on the podcast already, but you just won the Win mixed game championship, right? That was like a 1,600 route buy-in. Is that something like that? So
that is accurate.
Yep. You might actually know a little bit of something about something. You know what I mean? So take that with what you will. But
yeah, and you
go ahead.
And you I think what you spend in terms of poker, what you spend the most time doing is playing mixed games, cash games at Canterbury. Like that's your weekly grind. I don't know how many days a week you're doing it, but you're doing a lot more of that opposed to grinding no limit. Like you'll play some of the big no limit tournaments, but
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I couldn't even tell you the last time I played a no limit cash game.
yep,
Obviously something I have a lot of experience in, but over the last few years, I've kind of felt like my bread and butter is in the mixed streets and focusing on the cash game. And yeah, I'll play a hold'em tournament here and there, particularly the bigger ones that come through Minnesota. Still hemming and hawing about driving down to Iowa this weekend for the MSPT.
yep.
But to me, those are, I not to get all like over exaggerated here, but we as poker players, we look at the movie Rounders, right? Wes, have you ever watched Rounders yet? Have you gotten around to that?
Yeah, but I watched it too late into my poker life to where I didn't really like it that much.
Yeah, and I think people can say that when they if you look at it from all the poker scenes are stupid. It's like, well, to me, it's not. I look at that movie and I don't look at the poker scenes. I look at the scenes that are around it, and to me, the people that are grinding out big cash tournaments and looking for those big scores, those are the Mike McDermotts. I'm more of a Knish. I'm in here just trying to take what's ours. Just making an honest living. So that's the way I look at it. And but
all right, Carney, your time's up. All right, Wes.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it was a good intro though. All right, so yeah, that all being said, we'll talk no limit tournaments today. And we're talking about specific spots where I feel like people are just unbalanced. So okay, let's take this for an example. Let's say we're pretty deep here where we got 50K at 500 big blind, we're 100 bigs effective. We open pocket jacks, folds around to the big blind. But you know what? Let's say the button calls to button big blind call. Flop is 9-7 deuce. Big blind checks. We bet like half pot. Button folds.
Wes, would you clarify if this is a real hand or
a? This is not. I don't think this is a real hand.
Okay.
That I've played.
Okay.
It could be.
Okay. Could be.
Yeah.
No.
9-7 deuce.
Wes, you didn't say where we opened from, I don't believe.
That's fair. Let's say low jack. Low jack.
Okay.
Button big blind call. We bet half pot on the 9-7 deuce. We'll say 9-7 deuce rainbow. Button folds, big blind calls. And to get more specific, we'll say we open to 1100. So the pot is 33, 4100. We bet 2K on flop. So pot is 8100 going to the turn. And let's say the turn's a 5. So we got 9-7 deuce 5. Big blind checks. I think we want to go for value here again. And let's say we go
2/3.
55,000 or sorry, 5,500.
Value town.
Yeah.
Really go.
And then let's say big blind check raises to 15K.
Okay.
What's going through your guys' head here? That we get the turn check raise.
And we are assuming this player is an amateur.
Yeah, like we don't have a strong but we don't see them as a
amateur or not. From my experience, I would generally say that when players are flatting flops and check raising the turn, they're going to be more nutted than when they just check raise the flop.
Yep. Carney, is that kind of where you're landing on that?
No, I would certainly agree. If we're check raising 9-7 deuce, we're obviously trying to represent a very specific range.
Because it almost feels like, more of a trap, right? Like they're trying to allow us to bet twice, and now they can kind of start, saying, showing what their hand is. But if they don't check raise by the turn and we're this deep, there's no way they're going to be able to get all the money in the middle by the river. So this seems to be a play when we're this deep where it's just going to be a lot more nutted.
Would you say, and I totally agree with both you guys there. And I don't even know if like this might be a hand we just fold in theory anyways, but I think we could like, there's some times where it's
Is
like,
it,
oh, we should.
Sorry, did the turn bring in like a flush draw?
Turn brought in 6-8 is a straight now.
No, right. But was there any other, like, is there any semi bluffs that could be happening?
Yeah,
rainbow flop.
Rainbow flop. Yeah, I mean, let's say there's a backdoor flush draw on turn now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, not that it matters too much. I was just thinking about it, but yeah, I mean, my thought still stands.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, as far as thoughts go, obviously, is what kind of opponent are we on? Is this somebody capable of overplaying hands? Is someone that's capable of trying to attack us, representing a board that relatively misses us as a raiser? A lot of people are going to try to blow off, if they're a thinking player, try to say like you can't have that strong of a hand on a 9-high board, backdoor turn maybe, but if this is just some old beanbag, then yeah, it's a snap fold, right? Like it just is what it is. We sigh and we move on. Like,
yeah, I think we just got the term beanbag introduced to the podcast.
That is a new one. Yeah.
That's a Carney classic.
The beanbag.
Yeah, and I would say this is a spot where like even the non-beanbags are mostly going to be weighted towards like 2-pair plus here.
Absolutely. And this is the kind of spot in my mind. If I'm sitting there and I sense any kind of danger, I'm thinking ahead and saying, I'm going to get at most one street of value either here or on the river, right? Unless obviously I spike a jack or maybe the deuce on the river or something like that. But I feel sometimes in this spot, I feel confident just checking back and seeing how opponent acts, and we can just flat a lot of rivers or find a value there.
To be fair, I'm always betting this turn personally with jacks here. I'm always going to bet here for value and probably fold once I get raised. But let's kind of just take a step back and bounce to what our topic is. It's what's exploiting gen pop tendencies, right? Like.
Yeah.
So, like, generally, this is always just going to be nutted. So, like, jacks, I would also say that most amateurs are not going to fold jacks here, which would you agree is probably an error on their part?
Yeah. So this is where it's interesting, right? Because we can look at this hand from both sides of the equation. Because Max, I agree with you. My plan is usually going to be to bet fold this turn, because I trust that people are going to under bluff this. Like if someone has, let's say they had 10-6 suited as a gut shot on the flop and they turned a backdoor flush draw, I don't think they're going to turn this into a bluff. I think they're going to check call, right? I think if they
will see it, but that's one of the few hands, right?
Yeah, we're just talking about frequencies though. Like yeah. I think their check raises here are going to be so weighted towards value. Like I'll get bluffed occasionally, right? But like, plus there's hands like the 8-7s, the 8-5 suiteds, all the pair plus gut shot, stuff like that, where I think we get one more street of value now. And then, there are a lot of river cards where maybe we don't get the third barrel. And like if the deuce pairs, we triple, but
yeah, you're not going to see though opponents calling flop and then check raising turn with just something like top pair on these boards. Like it's so
correct.
You really so our hand is a bluff catcher.
I mean, do we really, really want to start inflating pots with just one pair, even though we're good and we're denying equity? Like there are spots where it can make sense to, again, remove kind of our strength by checking back and getting value on rivers while maintaining a manageable pot size in case,
Carney, this is a spot where we could get 3 streets of value with our hand.
Sometimes.
Against
it's opponent dependent. I think everything is opponent dependent. Is our opponent in a spot where they're going to call us down 3 times with just a bare 9?
Right.
You know,
And we can, yes, I agree with you. The one issue with saying opponent dependent is it doesn't give us content to talk about.
well, I mean, I understand that we live in Solverland here on the Suited Kings podcast, but I'm bringing an outside perspective of not everybody's playing perfect. You know,
I agree. I agree, but because of that, that incentivizes me to bet jacks on the turn even more. And this is good that we're having this argument and are discussing this. I want to have someone to put the other side. And don't get me wrong, maybe there is a place where I get a read or something where I'm pulling jacks. I mean, if say I had like Jack 9 suited and I opened up on this flop, I might check that hand back on the turn. Instead of something like jacks.
Yeah, I feel like the line I would draw is somewhere around there, like 10-9 suited, Jack 9 suited, where if I get called, I'm not necessarily sure if I'm happy about it or not. Whereas with jacks, the flip side of when they check raise, they have 2-pair plus almost always, is when they check call, that means we're almost always ahead. You know, we've almost always gotten money in as a big favorite on the turn. And then like, yeah, this certainly isn't always going to be a 3-street hand. But I think part of it too is there are a lot of river cards where if we check back turn, I think there are plenty of river cards where this actually just turns into a 1-street hand where we accidentally, you know, now our jacks aren't as strong on the river. Or, you know, they're 7-6 offsuit that they defended that now, you know, has 9 outs on the turn. Now it's just like a third pair on the river. And
I think it's important.
They bluff catch.
I think it's important that we explore these thoughts, though, Carney. So I'm glad you brought it up. And I do want to mention that I think there are turn cards where I'm going to be checking jacks back. So remind me, it was 9-7 deuce 5, right?
Yep.
Look at that. I remembered the board. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Maybe.
And I'm not saying the solver should say pure check by any means. Obviously, we're betting our hands a lot, but I think there's some validity to the argument of laying traps against certain opponents sometimes. People that are just going to be willing to pay off a river bet, just assuming that we're now trying to stab with ace highs, you know, or worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can there is some merit to saying if you check the turn, you're going to be under rep, so you can get value on the river. But like Wes said, I think there's a lot of river cards where we now have to just check back and lose.
Absolutely.
Lose
no, I understand. Again, just opening conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a slightly, because I think part of this one is like the 5 on the turn gives them a potential straight. So like it's an easy bet fold if we get raised. Let's say,
as opposed to a 3.
Let's say it's a 4. Yeah, a 4 that, you know, puts a backdoor flush draw out there, but you know, otherwise it's 9-7 deuce 4. So it's like we have a very clean overpair. Yeah. Does that? So how does that? How would that change your guys' perception?
Well, if we get check raised, you're saying.
Yeah, getting check raised, because now it's like they have to have.
If you'd like to start, Carney, go ahead.
Yeah,
it certainly would feel having to be stronger. Our draws are either we've lost all pairs and flush or pairs and straight draw combinations, right? Essentially, like we're now representing 2-pair bigger with a check raise. So making the story harder to believe in that sense makes it easier to believe for sure, and it can be much more exploitable. You know, players that are now insisting to, you know, find their value with 2-pair rather than letting it go a little bit more and allowing overpairs more comfort on the river, or to be able to snap fold turns on big raises. But you know, with it being the 5, again, that would cause me a little bit more hesitancy. But for sure, you're continuing in most cases.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely continue. So, and I want to hear Wes's thoughts on this after I speak mine. I think to me, between having the turn be a 5 or a 4, I understand it's the big blinds range. I don't think that that is going to change my feelings on when I get check raised if I'm going to continue or not. I think my option is still fold because
Still fold.
it's still fold,
And
and the reason
it
is
is.
because yeah, and I think that I'm just saying that because it's like it's still then it just changes the range from a straight to two pair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, and unless we're talking about a thinking player, which is the subsection of this
They're
conversation,
far
right?
and few between, surprisingly.
Are
Wes,
are
what are
are,
your thoughts?
are
Yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
tough. And I think one good thing to clarify here is so we're saying we started the hand 100 bigs deep.
Yeah,
I think when someone check raises the turn non all in, like that is incredibly strong. Let's say we were only 30 bigs deep and they just like check raised all in for, a little under 3x our bet on the turn. I think that one we're just quickly calling because that sometimes that's more of a like, okay, I know I don't want to fold my hand and I don't want to get put in a tough spot on the river. So I guess I'm just all in right now.
yeah.
But I think being 100 bigs deep, yeah, getting check raised on the turn here. This is one where it's like the solver is going to kill us for folding. But I think if we really have that read on the opponent that they like, really what it is like they have a lot less value on the 4 turn than the 5 turn. But if we just believe that
A
this
lot, you
player
think?
is well,
I
yeah,
wouldn't.
there's 16 combos of 8-6 that are no longer value, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the most prominent value hand on the turn in the other hand. So like,
Right.
um, but it's all relative. Like if we believe that their range right now just doesn't consist of bluffs, yeah, then we have to fold. So it's like as long as we can be confident in that read, I would still
And
fold. And
that's
I
and that's kind
agree.
of the point, right? Is like in these fields, there's not like that's to the point of the episode title, right? There's just not people just don't bluff, and they don't call flop check raise turns as bluffs in these fields. And we're kind of just to clarify, we're talking mid stake stuff and under. So MSPT
Mhm.
1100s all the way down to your local card rooms 300s or 150s or whatever you play there. But until you start playing and don't get me wrong, there will be some players in there that do that, but we're talking about general population tendencies.
Yeah, like we're not talking if you identify a player as like the type of player to just go berserk and right, it's like we're not folding over pairs to that player, but like the general type of player who cares about trying to win in these spots, they're not going to like check raise turn planning to jam river as a bluff a lot of the
How do we discuss the second section of this where it's against a thinking player?
Yeah, that's a good thought. So we, this is like maybe we should um let's take the 9-7 deuce 4 board, right? We have a hand like we'll say we had the 10-6 of diamonds and the turn was the second diamond.
Okay,
Okay.
so we got a
So we
gutter
had
with a flush draw.
gutter with a flush draw. So first off, if we're up against a thinking player, we are aware that they can still be bluffing this turn when they, let's say they bet 2/3 pot, right, on the turn here. So we can, in fact, let's go through the bet sizings again, just so we can like be more exact about it. So they bet the pot is 8,100 on the turn, and there's like 47K behind, so we're super deep. They bet like 5,500, and we're out of position here with the flush draw, the gut shot, the one over card. Like we can call and try and improve, or maybe we check raise to 14K for
Are
be
you saying we've switched positions now? We are now the big blind.
we're now the big blind. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
And so and this could be like I don't know. I don't trust you to ever fold to me, Max, but like someone
If
who,
last night says anything.
yeah, right. I someone who is of your similar caliber of player, but who I have no history with.
Would you mind telling me what that caliber is? Can we maybe dive into that slightly here?
What, you want me to say something about you being a good player?
You tell me, what is the caliber, Wes?
Someone who is
Am I
not
a 50
completely
caliber or a
hopeless.
22? Like, what is it?
No, I mean someone who's like a winning player, or who is, I would say, in this, I would say like anyone who's like clearly done some studying, is a thinking player who's had some good results, like
Yeah.
someone is going to think through this spot and not just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what I would do with the 10-6 of diamonds here? I mean, against a thinking player,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably just flat, especially when we're this deep. If say we were like,
Okay.
say we're something like 25 bigs deep or sub from there, like we can start check jamming these hands. But anyways.
Well, what I'm saying though is like when you flat, because if they're a thinking player, they can still be bluffing here.
Okay,
if we check call on the turn here,
I despise
we don't
it.
even get to beat bluffs.
Say that again, Carney.
I despise it. We're out of position with 10 high, allowing him with the aggression going into the river. Like we're
right. And my plan by flatting is to realize equity or just fold to river bet. Don't get me wrong. There's always a place, obviously, to check raises too, and I've done it many times. I don't think that's wrong. I don't think neither of them are necessarily wrong. I guess my point of what I was saying was that when we're this deep, I have to be prepared to fire rivers even when I whiff here, and we're very deep. So it can sometimes just turn into a punt, right? So, anyways,
it can, but we don't have to fire every river. But here, I guess here's more the story is like the three of us just kind of got done talking about how we're going to fold jacks to a turn check raise here. And jacks is one of the strongest hands we're going to have, right?
Yeah, it's a great point.
And so, first off, I think I'm not saying we're always going to do this, but like on a disconnected board like this, I think we're all capable of turning, the queen jack into a double barrel here where we're like, they're just going to fold a 7, stuff like that. Or even jack 10, that's a gut shot. It's like, we're going to like.
Don't ever call jack 10 a gut shot here.
Jack 10.
To gutter to the nutter, Wes.
Gutter. Okay. Gutter to the nutter.
Thank you.
And so thank you. Good correction, Max. Anyways, though, like, so first off, there are some bluffs that the player in the low jack can have here. So if we, with the 10-6 of diamonds, check raise the turn here, we can already clear out those things. Whereas like, let's say we check call 10-6 of diamonds, river is a king. They don't even have to bluff their bluffs now. They just, whether they bet or check it back and give up, they just win a big pot.
Yeah.
If we check raise to 14K on the turn, we clear out the bluffs on the turn. But let's say they have jacks. And I mean, I'm not saying they're going to fold. I'm not saying we're relying on them to fold pocket jacks here or queens or whatever. But first off, we have like 12 outs here against those hands. But what if the river's a 5 and now 8-6 gets there? Or even if we river a pair of 6s and 10-8 and 8-5 gets there, and then like put yourself in that spot where you bet big on the turn, you call the check raise with an overpair, 9-7-4 deuce, and now the river brings in some of those bluffs, and then they jam for 33K.
Yeah,
like. Let's be honest, I think all of us are
we're folding
all of our overpairs there.
Every reasonable big blind defense there either makes their straight or backdoors into 2 pair or some sort of combination.
Yeah. And I'm not let's say the river is like a king, or let's say it pairs the 9 or something. Like I think there's certainly river cards where we just kind of like check, give up, whatever. But I think there are plenty of river cards where we can find that all-in bluff, and then we fold out their strong value. And that's not even considering the fact that they could have like ace queen of diamonds for the flush draw themselves. That would just be an auto fold on river anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there are, when we reverse engineer this spot and think about how likely we are to fold to aggression, to this sort of aggression in this spot, like we can be on the other side of that too.
I agree. I do want to mention that I think in game it's a little bit different, and I think most people are not going to be folding those hands live in these tournaments.
Right, but most
agree.
People aren't us though.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. I do want to bring up a really good point that you touched on. That's kind of off topic, but something that might be helpful to listeners is we have the 10-6 of diamonds here. We check raised the turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we river a 6.
Okay.
This is a great spot for us to, even though we caught showdown value, continue our bluff and get better hands to fold. We're really good, especially on such a connected board where range favors the big blind. We're now going to get all single pair over pairs to fold. I mean, hopefully.
Right.
And then, but also just, A7 suited or ace 9X or whatever, things like that. But it's just you kind of add this whole section of hands that are better than yours that are going to fold that aren't bluffs.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Because when he calls the check raise on turn, he's usually going to have a pair of 7s or better anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a good clarification. And
that was, what? By the way, like a healthy hand to discuss with Carney here. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
I enjoyed it.
I have proved my worth.
I won't go that far.
And
let's continue.
Okay.
And this is all a fantasy hand, Wes. This isn't based off of true life.
That was all fantasy. I do have an interesting one from this last weekend though, that it's a similar concept.
I thought this was that hand. That's why we were saying this.
No.
Okay, that's why. Anyways, yeah, the listeners wouldn't understand.
Oh yeah, no, Jax. No. This
and
was
on
not
a similar board too. Like,
yeah, no. This one actually did include allegedly the opponent having Jax, but it was a day 2 spot. And I'm not going to say the name of the player, but it's someone who I consider like a smart person, thinking player.
He's a grinder too. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
By the way, nice run this weekend. You got 20th out of how many entries?
Thank you. Yeah, 500 something. Apparently, I actually got 19th. It was the same payout. They like miscounted one. I don't know, but yeah,
whatever.
Thank you. It was a solid run.
I also stoned min cash Max. Thanks for the acknowledgement.
And by the way,
that's right. I saw your kind of eye roll exit as I was in the middle of a hand.
Oh, the eye roll exit. That is the Mizreg Carney right there. Yes, well, that is exactly what I was describing.
Of course, the third hand of the day, we flop a set and we lose. I mean, we make the hour drive up to running aces just to collect our min cash in 10 minutes, and we get to have the drive home just to steam over it. That's the Mizreg way.
Oh my God. At least you live up to it. I love it. Just own that. Thank you. All right, continue with that hand, Wes. I'm interested.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one where we had 560K at the 20K big blind. So we have exactly 28 bigs. And our opponent opens to 40K in the hijack. And he has maybe, 700 or 800. He has this covered. We take king 9 of diamonds in the cutoff and
baby, suited king.
We make it 110K. And the goal here is to fold out, the ace 9 off, king 10 off, king jack off. Plus, we can apply pressure post flop too.
Plus, we can just get there.
We can get there, which maybe would have happened, maybe didn't. It folds back to him and he calls. So the pot is 220, 270. And we do get the 8-3 deuce with 2 diamonds. So we flop a flush draw, and with SPR of less than 2, like
with 2 overs.
Yeah, we're comfortable getting this in.
You know what's funny about that is, sorry to pause you, interrupt as I usually do, but like you have so much equity even against just like single pair hands. You're like a small favorite if they're like under paired hands. Say he has what was the board?
7s or whatever.
8-3 deuce.
8-3 deuce. Yeah, if he has like 7,
put $1 in.
Yeah.
But by the way, did we get to the agreement that you don't pay me anything to come on here except I get $1 every time you ask what the flop was? Did we come to that agreement?
I don't know, just because that would be pretty expensive in the long run.
No. Guys, they're holding me accountable.
We'd have to make sure to do less hand reviews. Maybe let's talk more mental game when you're out there. Just keep it on the low end of the budget.
Yeah, I gave you beanbag. Now we're gonna put $1 in a jar onto the Suited Kings soundboard.
You know what? Let's do it. I will put $1 in. You got a jar? Let's do it. So it's
all right. So our opponent does something interesting here. He leads for 75K into 270. And I have 450, and I am the 3-better. So I'm like, this is kind of weird. Obviously we have I'm comfortable just getting this hand in, so I'm not like worried about what he has per se. But if I had to guess, I'm like, is this pocket 7s?
That's exactly kind of my thought, is like something that's like, I don't want him, to check back and see an overcard, or like something like 7s or 6s, something like that. Maybe.
Yeah.
What do we think good hands to lead with are? Are they defensive?
I'm literally never leading here personally.
Yeah, I think if you have a hands like 7s, you can just kind of check jam it,
or
probably.
Check jam it. Yeah, I guess because it's a 3-bet pot, there's so much in there. But
yeah, it's like if I'm gonna, because I probably would have bet 75, 65, 80, somewhere in that between quarter and third pot. And if he just, it's like if he calls, SPR is going to be less than 1 anyways. But so this is the decision point, because we do have a hand we're comfortable getting it in with. But my thought also is it's still better to try and get him to fold. It's better.
We don't avoid showdown. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'd rather win a pretty bloated pot as it is, rather than just flip for the whole thing. And so I'm like, how, against a guy who's a thinking player, how do I make this look like aces or kings the most? And I could flat, but then he might bet again. I decided to click it to 165, leaving myself 285 behind. So it's kind of like, and I think this is a spot.
There's not many people that are going to play. I will tell you what, there's not one other person in this tournament that's going to play this hand this way.
Yeah, and that's what I think he is smart enough to realize, like, generally speaking, when people make a small raise, that's still for a large percentage of their stack. It's a very milky type of thing, right? Like, it's like, oh, let's make it a size where he can't fold on the flop, and then we get to jam the turn and he's already kind of committed,
Yeah, it's a very nutted way of playing the hand, for sure.
Yeah.
I think honestly jamming's fine as well, personally.
I think jamming's fine. I mean, it's all really fine here with this specific hand. It's kind of easier to find this because we have the equity anyways.
Exactly. I like your, I wouldn't have done that. I would have jammed personally. I like that you clicked it because it just screams nutted more than jamming does.
Yeah. And he thought for a few minutes and he folded and he told me he had jacks.
GG's.
So yeah, I was like, whew. And he stacked someone the next hand. So then I told him what I had, because then I'm like, okay, he's in a good mood now. Well, and then he was talking about the hand more.
You're in a good mood. I bluffed you, by the way.
Yeah, he brought it up again. Like I I was deciding whether or not I should show the bluff at the time.
Can you maybe discuss a little bit how this falls in line with exploiting gen pop tendencies?
Yes. So I think of him as a thinking player, and I would think of like spots where someone makes a really small raise where it's clear they're committing their stack. Like where they kind of should just jam. Like it would make more sense to jam my hand in a way, but like they're making it super milky. It's like it's almost similar to spots where I've folded pocket queens to a 4-bet pre-flop deep in a tournament where it's like I was calling the jam, but because you 4-bet to like over a third of your stack, I know you just have aces.
I just folded
kings.
ace king to Matt Alexander in a very similar spot last weekend. Remember that?
Yep. And so it
He's
would be the
thinking
same
player though, so he could have if he exploited me, GG's. But he told me he had aces. Who knows?
Yeah, probably true. So yeah, this is a spot where it's like, I think if I go all in, he just calls it off with jacks, and maybe I get there, maybe I don't. But I think it's like, what if I had pocket tens, or if I had ace king? Why would I ever do? If I had a non-nutted hand, why would I ever take this click line? Because it's like I'm making a play that shouldn't give me any fold equity.
Right.
But it's against the player who knows that. And he's like, well, the only reason he would do that is because he doesn't want me to fold.
It's just beautiful. It's just fucking beautiful, man. Yeah. I can that smirk on your face, just I can see how proud of yourself you are.
I was.
I love that. And it's important to get creative. It would have worked both ways, I'm sure, but maybe a jam doesn't work.
I think a jam he's calling. Yeah. I would guess. I don't know. Then again, I would have expected him to just 4-bet rip pre-flop with jacks too. So
yeah. Who knows? I mean, people say crazy things sometimes, so who knows what he actually had.
I mean, does this player think of you as someone that's just going to go berserk with an ace king and jam it? Like,
no,
right?
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
right. So I mean, I think there's a Venn diagram of players who are going to fold jacks there because they're a thinking player, and there are players that are going to fold jacks because they're afraid to death of just calling it off with jacks and getting shown an overpair and feeling like an idiot, right? Like,
yeah,
for sure.
Would you
particularly in certain stages of tournaments? Like
against
this isn't level 5 where they can just rebuy, right? This is in the money. This is deep. Like this is a high stakes ICM spot.
That's a good point too. I think it's important to mention, to where you're making these moves depends on what point of the tournament it is too.
Oh, of course. Yeah. If we're 28 blinds effective and we're at level 9 of a tournament, like he's just putting it in with jacks, I would almost 100% think.
Right.
Yeah. Whether pre or post flop.
Yeah.
And I think even in this spot, I think the vast majority of people would have done so.
Right. Which goes back to how do you want to play it like you're representing aces or kings? Like if you're gonna jam, you're giving jacks the chance to fold, right? That's not the situation that you want. So that's where if that's the story that we're going to try to tell and disguise our equity with a king 9 of diamonds, what story are we telling, right?
Yeah, of course. And yeah, ironically, I think just calling on the flop probably is the most, like, calling the flop and then betting turn is the most accurate way to do that. But it's like, well, if he bets turn, I may just not get a chance to have full equity.
That's what I mean. Well, let me ask you, what do you do if you just call and he bets turn, and there's zero fold equity? Do you still just go with it here? It's like there's obviously a lot in the pot, but it's like you have one card to come which is probably 15 outs, I guess, or not even 15.
Yeah, so we'll say just like the turn is an offsuit 6 or something.
Yeah.
It would just depend at that point. So the pot would be.
Was that 14 outs? Anyways.
Yeah. Well, against his actual hand, it would be 12, but it would be 15 against like sevens or something.
Yeah. Okay.
So if the pot's 420 and I had 375, like if he jams, I just probably fold. If he bets like 150, at that point, I'm just like, I think I'm just going to call and try and realize it, realize the equity. Because at that point, it's almost like he actually is committed. So in this spot, I felt like I had to give him the opportunity to fold while he still hadn't invested quite enough. And I still thought the most likely outcome was that we get it in if he had a hand like, well, jacks I didn't even consider, but if he had like nines or he had sevens or some sort of eight, or I thought maybe this is the other good outcome is he calls flop brick turn and then he check folds turn, right? Like I jam turn and he folds. Like that way I just get more chips in a way. So
Right.
Yeah. What?
So you're setting up yourself up for that to be plan B.
Yeah, I'm setting it up so like when he calls flop, I still have, almost 300K behind to where especially if he has something like sevens and the turn is, let's say, a queen, and then I rip turn, he's just like, okay, there's no way I'm
You got king,
here.
queen of diamonds or something. Yeah.
Right.
Before we start wrapping up, are there any other maybe general population tendencies that we could just spitball that might seem nutted? Just that people can think like, wow, this is always going to be nutted versus a bluff. Like, what are some ones that come to your head right away? So, like we discussed, for example, like check raising the flop typically isn't, but calling the flop and check raising the turn generally is nutted. So there's one example. Yeah. What are maybe some other examples of?
So here's actually, I have a couple more examples of maybe where it's nutted.
Let me clarify one more. Your king nine just clicking the flop also is a great example. That is typically nutted versus gen pop, but you're a thinking player, so that separates it a little bit. Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. So there are a couple more, not that where it's necessarily always nutted. Actually, no, here's one where it's usually pretty nutted is when someone just raises pre and then they triple barrel.
Yep.
I think people just triple barrel bluffs are hard to come by, especially
when an episode on that.
Yeah.
Remember the title of that?
You should double and triple barrel bluff more.
Yeah, exactly. Because people just don't do it, right?
Yeah. So I would say, generally, and without getting too deep into the specifics, when people triple barrel bluff in these, when people triple barrel in these tournaments, they're good at c betting. Everyone's good at c betting these days. A lot of times they'll give up the turn. And then it's like so rare that they actually pull the trigger on that third one, especially when they're using appropriate sizing. I think people are a little bit shy when it comes to just tripling off their whole stack as a bluff. And, rightfully so. Like I think we all get that. The other spot I actually wanted to talk about, and this is a little bit different, but it's a spot where it's not that they're necessarily nutted, but they don't double barrel as wide as they should. I think both as for value and as a bluff. This is an online hand I played somewhat recently, but it's not, I don't even remember who it is against. So I opened in low jack, and this one I actually did throw in the solver just to see like what would a solver continue to barrel, right? But we opened low jack with ace queen of diamonds off of just under 40 bigs effective. Cut off 3 bets to 6.5 bigs. We call. So pot's like 15 something bigs. And we flop the nuts, 8-4 deuce all diamonds. we check and they bet 4 big blinds. So I feel like, especially at this SPR, we like, I think all of us, and correct me if I'm wrong, our instinct is like, okay, we have the nuts. We can just call here. Like, we can, let him keep betting. Or if he checks back turn, we can just bet big on river, is kind of the thought. What are your guys' thoughts there?
No, I'm raising here. I want the chance to get this pot bigger. There's going to be a lot of cards where they're checking back. We're out of position here. We don't want to give the opportunity to keep this pot small. We're going to get defended against pocket pairs with a diamond. We're going to get defended with bear king of diamonds a lot. People that are going to think that our line is a bear ace sometimes. It's hard to flop the nuts. It's really hard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's gonna look a lot more like the nuts if we try to check raise the turn rather than now, right? This is a spot. Yeah. This is a spot where we're gonna look like we're gonna try to blow them off the pot, and with reasonable equity when we actually just have the stones. So, I'm putting in a raise here.
Max, what's your thought?
What was the flop again?
Don't put it down in the jar.
I like Carney's line, honestly.
Yeah. And I think, like, if you look at the solver, it says flat. And I think the idea is we just check call each street, and they'll, we allow them to triple barrel their value and bluffs, right?
Yeah.
What I did here is actually kind of ridiculous. And I probably just got lucky, but I just check jammed. and he snap called with kings with no diamond, and we won that one. But
there is something to be said about that too, where oftentimes, like, I feel like jamming oftentimes is just going to be the single ace of diamonds, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or it could just be me being like, oh, I have sixes with a diamond, so like, if you have ace king with a diamond, we're kind of flipping. If you have an overpair without a diamond, we're flipping. I could, it sort of uncomplicates the hand. It's like you have to run into an overpair with a diamond or a flush to really be screwed. Like, my hand looks kind of ridiculous, and I don't think, like, I usually wouldn't play it that way. But the reason I did it, and the reason I looked at this hand in the solver, is because the reason we call on the flop is because because we're trying to allow them to keep betting, and keep our range wide. But so it's 8-4 deuce all diamonds. Let's say we check call, and the turn is the 7 of spades, and then we check again. The hand, like, they are supposed to find bluffs with all of their king 9 suited, just like airball. A lot of their king jack offsuit without a diamond. A lot of their ace 10 offsuit without a diamond, because, like, they're just trying to fold out slightly better hands. They're trying to fold out our pairs without a diamond. All this stuff, like, they are supposed to double barrel these hands, and they're supposed to double barrel most of their pocket pairs with or without a diamond. And I think on both ends of the spectrum, like, their bluffs and their value, I think on the monotone board, people are going to be a bit more passive. And so I'm like, well, and I wasn't literally thinking all this through in the hand, but I think my instinct was like kind of what Carney said, where it's like, check raising this flop doesn't look, it doesn't look like we just flopped it in a way. Or definitely check jamming just looks kind of...
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, dude.
What kind of idiot would check jam the ace high flush here?
yeah. Now, obviously, they still
I would have literally, after I called with kings, I would have called you an idiot.
Yeah, right. And I just sort of laughed. I'm like...
In his face, right?
Yeah. But it's like, okay, let's say he has a hand that folds to the check jam, which he will, like any non-pocket pair without a diamond is going to just insta fold. But my thought is, well, I think this is a spot where the general population, even online here, isn't going to double barrel nearly as much as they are supposed to, according to a solver. So like we have to accept that against those unmade hands, we're probably not getting stacks in anyways. So like let's make sure we get the full stack in against these pair. Like if he, kings without a diamond, if another diamond rolls off or if an ace rolls
You're
off,
losing all your value. Yeah.
we get no more money. If he has ace king with the king of diamonds, if he might just check back turn because he feels he has some showdown. He could that is when he might double barrel. But yeah, it's those pocket pairs. And even if he has maybe not kings, but like if he has tens or jacks with a diamond, he might check back turn. Even if a diamond rolls off, he's looking to get one street in, but not two, kind of thing. Like he's checking back and then probably calling river. But I'm like, I could just put it all in and he should call it off, So
I like it. Yeah, another creative way. Like, you're just kind of doing with the opposite of what you think they think you would do. So
yeah.
it's funny how that works. All right. Well, I think that was a lot of good content today. Is there any other last thoughts here before we do some quick plugs?
Yeah, I mean, if there are any more spots that you guys have where it's like, oh, this is always this,
Yes, I mean there's plenty of them. I think we've touched on the big ones. The triple barreling, it's not as a sure shot as something like the flat, the check raise the
Agreed.
turn. I would have to sit here and think for a while to come up with more of those thoughts. But yeah, no, I think we touched on a lot of the big ones. There's actually quite a few of them, honestly. Is there anyone that comes to my head right away though? Like, you know what? My pad thai arrived and I'm just like drooling. So I don't think.
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that it's hard to get over that thought.
We got to just call it a wrap once the pad thai comes in, right?
Max has been elbow deep in dirty diapers all day. He's hadn't had a chance to eat. He's only fueled off of Cool Ranch Doritos and Monster Energy drinks right now.
Very
it was
close.
Gatorade.
Yeah.
It was Gatorade, wasn't it?
Zero sugar Gatorade, my friend.
Zero sugar Gatorade.
Oh wow, health conscious. Look at you.
I brought to this episode a small bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, a cup of black coffee, what is this, 20 ounces or whatever of Gatorade Zero Lime, and then a thing of water, which of course the water is the only one I haven't touched yet. So. Are you frozen, Carney, or you just think I'm an idiot?
It could be both. I mean, it's not an either or situation.
That's amazing. No, it was a lot of fun to have you on today, Carney. I do hope that you guys give us your input. Do you enjoy having Carney on the episode? We'd love to hear more. We're definitely going to have him on some more. So,
yeah,
this is just
I
kind
would
of
say definitely. I'd say if he's lucky, but
yeah, if he's lucky, he's lucky. But warming up here, we got a few hands out of the way with him. And any last thoughts you had, Carney?
No, it's again. Obviously, we're gonna leave the experts here to talk about the X's and O's about playing exploitative 4-bet pots and hold'em. But I'm certainly hopeful in the future we can start talking about mixed games. I think it's something that a lot of people have intrigue into the subject, but don't really have a way to dip their toe in. I know.
Yeah.
It sounds like clubs. Poker is offering a few of the simplified mixed games.
He's getting it.
Yeah,
no, I get it. I'm a listener. First time caller, long time listener. So use your club's poker code Max Sucks for 10% rake back.
Yeah.
Oh man. Speaking of which, if you haven't signed up for Clubs Poker yet, link in the description. They have all the mixed games from low to pretty low stakes, I would say, on there, but it's a great way to cut your teeth. So, Carney, I'm definitely going to be running mixed. I've been having the itch for mixed games lately. I just got done playing there. They had a series where it was like all mixed games, play 2 to 7 single draws, playing 6-card PLO, and you get a bracelet if you win one of their events, which is pretty sick. So, it just made me hungry for it. I want more of it. I would like to play some mixed games at the World Series next year. It's probably your better chance of winning a bracelet, honestly, because the fields are just specifically because fields are smaller.
Well, I think you said, quote, anybody can win these mixed things once you announced I won the win one. So I welcome you to come on down to Canterbury and try your luck at 4080 mix, and I'll see you there, buddy.
Oh Lord, I'm not touching that. I would not go anywhere near that game actually, because I know it's just a bunch of misregs like yourself. So
it truly is. Honestly, there's nobody more miserable than mixed players. I tell you what.
Do you? By the way, that reminded me. Did you see that hand with what's his name? Oh my gosh, the autistic dude.
Be more specific. This is what we're talking about.
The dude who where Shulman put out a tweet talking about how he it was like the Mona Lisa of how he mucked his hand after he got rivered. Oh my gosh, what's his name? The dude who takes all the bad beats. No, he takes all the super bad beats in the super high rolls. You know what? It's funny. I guarantee it's so many listeners. Chris Brewer, thank you. I know. I was gonna say the listeners know exactly what I'm talking about. But did you guys see where he
bad beats in the high rollers? Yeah,
he rivered a flush and then rivered 7th Street at a flush or whatever. I don't even remember what game they were playing. But then his opponent 7th Street, the final card. In 7 card.
In stud, 7 card stud. Yeah.
Yeah. But then he hit a full house. So but the way he mucked his cards, it was very misreggy. It was my point.
Okay. That's so cool.
Fabulous story, right?
Yeah. I mean that's
it was so beautiful that Shulman wrote a tweet about it. So how about that?
No, I mean that's one of the beautiful parts of the mixed games is that every hand has a funeral. Everyone's an idiot by the time a river comes. How did you get there with this? Yada yada. You're a fish. So, if you want misery, look no further than the mixed games.
Oh, for sure. And I think naturally in limit games where you're always getting such a good price, there's just going to be so many more suck outs too. So many more opportunities for misery like that.
Oh, 100%.
It's a great point.
100%.
For sure.
All
right.
There's no blowing people off of pots in the limit.
I will first and foremost say that I am looking forward to hearing some of your analysis on mixed games. We will have one of those episodes coming up very, very soon because I know other people want to get into it as well. It's like, why, I'm tired of being a 1-trick pony. I mean, I'm like a 2-trick pony.
You're more of a 0-trick pony, but damn.
You're the pony we should have took out back and shot.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out Tilted Compass Suited Kings merch, link in the description. Make sure to say goodbye to Carney because he's never coming back on the pod.
It's been fun, guys.
No, I just played. But anyways, guys, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Anything last from you, you fools? You fools?
No, I think we should leave it on that beautiful sign off right there.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. All right, we'll catch you guys on the next week's episode.